All right, we are officially live. This is going to be a different type of show. Obviously, if you're seeing me, I am Solo Dolo. I mentioned it on my Twitter account, but we are here. Welcome to a new edition of Count the Bucket. I am your official host for today, Nick Andre. I'm glad to have y'all tuned in with me today. Um, Unfortunately, Michael is not here um, due to an unfortunate passing of his mother. My condolences definitely go out to Michael, to his family, and his loved ones who had a really good relationship with his mother and who knew her throughout her lifetime. But so yeah, Michael, my thoughts are with you, man. Hope you're doing well at the moment, and can't wait to have you back as soon as possible. But let's go ahead and get the show started. Shout out to Unwrap Sports. Catch me on Unwrap Sports. Follow the Twitter Count the Bucket Twitter page at Count Bucket USN. Follow Unwrap Sports at Unwrap at I believe it's Unwrap Sports. I'm not 100% sure. And then also check me out on Colorcast. I am live there right now. Shout out to those who are listening at the moment. But let's go ahead and jump right into it. The first topic I do want to talk about is something that I'm not so sure about, honestly. For those NBA fans, some trades happened, or actually one trade happened earlier this week. I believe Wednesday afternoon, if I'm not mistaken. I may have the day wrong, but Cam Reddish is officially a New York Knick. He was traded to New York alongside Solomon Hill from the Atlanta Hawks, which it involved a 3-team deal. I believe Kevin Knox was traded to Charlotte, if I'm not mistaken, and I believe the Hawks got a pick. I'm not 100% sure. So obviously, I haven't really had a chance to really express my opinion on this situation because I took a small Twitter hiatus. Sometimes you got to just sometimes you just got to take time away from social media, just get your mind right. So when the trade happened, I wasn't necessarily active on social media. So I haven't really had a chance to really explain my thoughts on the trade. But let me just say that I'm not going to say that it's a bad trade. Well, first of all, let me just say that I don't really understand it with Atlanta, considering the type of season that Cam Reddish is having. I know he's missed a few games or so, but he's averaging career highs across the board, 12 points a game. He's upped his 3-point percentage from 26% to 38%. I believe he's shooting around 40% from the field. So Cam is giving us, I'm not going to say an elite display of numbers, but it's definitely going in the right direction. So with the Atlanta Hawks, considering the direction that they're at, obviously they've had the struggles this year, considering everything that happened last year, making it to the conference finals a year ago. Honestly, trading Cam's a little head scratcher for me, just because I felt like he could have been a part of that future. I feel like he could have easily been a starter, possibly taking Kevin Huerter's spot, but Kevin Huerter's definitely been a terrific asset, especially right next to Trae Young in that backcourt. And then, of course, unfortunately, he wouldn't start over DeAndre Hunter just because DeAndre Hunter brings that defensive mentality, something that Cam Reddish has had his struggles with in the past and does have the struggles with currently today. So for New York, I like it, but then again, I don't. I feel like this could be, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know the exact word I'm looking for, but I feel like this could go either good or bad. I believe that it's good because obviously Cam Reddish and RJ Barrett both play together at Duke, so they both have that chemistry with one another. RJ Barrett being an elite wing player, being a great playmaker that he is, and then Cam Reddish just being able to play off the ball. I feel like that'll definitely be great. And then of course Julius Randle as well, who is also another great playmaker in his own. But then again, it's like, for a guy like Cam going to New York, it could go a bad way, just because whenever I initially saw the trade, I started thinking, man, like I just hope that this doesn't hurt his career, because when you look at a lot of like the past prospects that the Knicks have, not including guys like RJ Barrett and other guys like Emmanuel Quickly and a few other guys, but I'm thinking about guys like Kevin Knox, who is obviously now out of New York, a guy like Dennis Smith Jr., who was traded to New York from Dallas and then just could not find his footing. I know he's doing well in Portland right now, but during that particular time, it was just a hard time for DSJ. So I'm thinking about a guy like Cam Reddish who has dealt with injuries, who's shown to be injury prone. So the thing about it is that will he be available for the Knicks on a consistent basis? Excuse me. And will he be able to produce at a high level? Now, like I said, Cam Reddish this year for Atlanta, career highs across the charts. So he's definitely ascending in the right direction. So I'm just hoping that this particular change does not mess up his flow, doesn't mess anything up for him, just because he's a guy that I want to see succeed. I've always had high hopes for Cam Reddish, even coming out of Duke, even though I was one to say that I felt like he could have stayed another year at Duke. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. He ended up going to Atlanta, and he's been thriving. Honestly, I mean, I think a lot of people started to really pick up on him, especially last year when he played those last few games in the conference finals for Milwaukee. I think including that 20-point game that he had in Game 6. So Cam Reddish, obviously, when you look at his game, his ability to create, his ability to be able to score at a high level, he definitely has the tools to become a great player. So I'm just hoping that this trade to New York will possibly benefit him in the way that he needs it to be. So that's just my thing. I'm not going to say that I initially hate the trade, because I can't say that I hate the trade. I don't understand why Atlanta made the trade. That's the one thing that I don't understand. But at the end of the day, if you ask me who actually won the trade, the Knicks probably won, or the Knicks actually did win. Sorry. So like I said, I love Cam Reddish. I wish nothing but the best for him. And hopefully this could be something good for him. Like, honestly, like when I think about Cam and the way that his career is going, it sort of reminds me of the early Tracy McGrady years in Toronto, where, he kind of the first few years he struggled to get minutes, and people didn't really understand, or people didn't really see the vision of how great of a player he could be. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like, those early days in Toronto from McGrady, people didn't really understand. But then once he got traded to Orlando, alongside guys, like Grant Hill and others, he continued to be, or he ended up becoming an elite scorer. So elite that people were considering him better than Kobe Bryant at the time, which I find to be pretty blasphemy. I mean, I love T-Mac, but at the end of the day, Kobe Bryant's a different animal. But that's neither here or there. So, like I said, I'm pretty much reiterating what I said. I just want the best for Cam. I just don't want this to be a scenario where he goes to New York. We all have these high expectations for him. Considering that he already has that chemistry with RJ, after those two playing in college together, I just hope that he'll be able to thrive and help make a huge impact for New York as far as getting to the playoffs. Because right now, I don't have the exact stats in front of me, but I do believe they're sitting in the play-in spot right now, which is very low to me because before the season began, I actually had the Knicks as I believe the 6th seed. So obviously the Knicks have had their struggles, have had their injuries. So hopefully this Cam trade, whenever he does play, can help turn things around. They just got to win tonight over the Atlanta Hawks, which is a really big win. I believe that this was a personal win, not only for the Knicks, but for Cam possibly as well. I mean, even though Cam didn't play, but basically, man, like, I just wish the best for Cam. That's really all I have to say about the situation. All right, so let's go ahead and switch gears. This is a topic that I want to get into, a topic that I am extremely happy about. I am passionate about. It's been over 2 years since we've seen this guy play. As a fan, I have been hurt and I have been suffering. Well, I wouldn't say I've been hurting, but I've definitely missed his presence on the floor, and that's Mr. Klay Thompson, who officially made his return this past Sunday against the Cleveland Cavaliers. The last time we saw Klay was obviously in Game 6 of the 2019 Finals. I'm not going to say he was playing at a very high level during that Finals, but he definitely made a huge impact, especially considering that we only had Kevin Durant for only 12 minutes of that entire series. So honestly, I understand that Steph Curry may have averaged around 30 points a game that series, but if we didn't have Klay Thompson, there was no way in hell we would have even made it to 6 games, because Toronto was just cooking us from Kawhi Leonard to Kyle Lowry to Pascal Siakam, Fred VanVleet, the rest of those guys. So for those for Klay Thompson to be a part of that, to be healthy enough to be a part of that team, and to be able to bring the just bring the energy on both ends of the floor, we would have never been we would have never made it to 6 games if it wasn't for Klay Thompson being out there on the floor. And if you ask me, we would have been playing a game 7 in Toronto that series if Klay would have never went down, because I can't exactly remember off the top of my head, but I believe Golden State was up by a few points. I can't remember exactly, but when Klay Thompson was going for that transition dunk, we were up. We were definitely winning the game. If I'll have to go back and actually watch the game. It's been over 3 years, so I can't exactly remember what the score was or what was actually going on, but I do believe that we were winning that game. And we had momentum. We definitely had momentum. But once Klay went down, that momentum switched. Toronto definitely turned things up a notch. They snatched that momentum from us, and they just ended up being the better team, winning the championship. So you definitely got to give your credit to them. Definitely got to give the props to them for just being able to pull out that series, even though as a fan I kind of say it's rigged, but that's neither here or there. But let's get into the current Klay Thompson, the one who's got the headband, who's got the afro, who has been anxious to come back because he was initially supposed to come back last year, but then unfortunately tore his Achilles, which set him back for another season. And now he is officially back. And let me just say, from the first game, you can just tell, the early game jitters were there for Klay. He was definitely anxious to get back there on the floor. I wouldn't necessarily say it's Klay trying to force things, because I saw a lot of tweets, during that night saying that Klay's trying to force things. He's taking a lot of threes, he's taking a lot of jumpers. I just see a guy that's out there that loves to hoop and just wants to be back to his normal self. This has been over 2 years since we have seen Klay on the floor. I can't even imagine what he was thinking, or the way that he was feeling during the announcement of the starting lineups, and they're yelling he's back. That's that just gotta put chills through your body. That's gotta put goosebumps on your body. That's literally insane. So I'll admit, Klay, anytime Klay got the ball, he definitely took advantage. He definitely got his shots up. He didn't make most of it. I want to say the first game he shot 7 of 18, which is honestly not. I mean, it's under 50%. People can say it's inefficient, but to me, it's not bad considering that it is Klay's first game back. I honestly didn't even expect him to make more than 2 shots coming to that game, just because I felt he was probably going to play probably 5-6 minutes every quarter, and honestly, it seemed like Steve Kerr kind of played him a little bit more during that game, which is good because, at the end of the day, Klay has to get his legs under him. Klay has to find that rhythm. So, now that Klay is back, obviously we ended the Warriors ended up winning that game against the Cavs. Then we go to Memphis. Klay has another, pretty decent game. I'm not going to say it's a great game, but, he's, like I said, Klay's still trying to find his footing. We end up losing a close one to the Memphis Grizzlies, which is the team that I'm going to get into our next topic. And then, of course, we end up getting blown out to Milwaukee, which, by the way, I only watched 10 seconds of that game. The 10 seconds that I watched, it was about 10 seconds, actually, literally 10 seconds remaining in the first half. We were already down 74-38. Bobby Portis hits a 3 at the buzzer, I believe. And we go into the half down 39. So after that, I didn't even watch any of the game. So I can't necessarily tell you how Klay played that game, just because I definitely did not watch any of that game, and I have no plans of actually going back to actually watch the highlights or watch any film from that game. So as a Warriors fan, you just move on, which we did. We definitely did. We definitely got a huge win the very next night, which is last night, against the Chicago Bulls at the United Center. But for Klay, the one thing that I would say about Klay is that it's not a race, it's a marathon, basically. You got to remember, these are 2 major injuries with him: a torn ACL and Achilles tear. These are 2 major injuries that many people do not come back from. Thank goodness we're in 2022, where we have more research and ability to be able to come back and play at a high level. You see players like Kevin Durant who has been able to come back from his Achilles tear and be one of the, or actually be the top scorer in the NBA today. You see in the WNBA, we saw Breanna Stewart come back from that Achilles tear and win a championship immediately. So now that we're in this day and age, players are able to come back from their injuries and play more efficient. Well, I'm not going to say everybody, but a lot of great players are able to come back from these major injuries and come back and play at a high level. So with Klay, we have no doubt in that in our minds. Everybody already knows, even though the Warriors have had a really good season this year, everybody has anticipated Klay's return. Everybody has anticipated his return. And once Klay finds that rhythm, once Klay, gets his legs underneath him, finds a shot, honestly, I'm very excited for it. Like, I'm not only excited for Klay, but I am excited for Steph, because if you think about it, like Steph, going into last year, because it was technically last year was technically Steph's first year without Klay, because if you remember in 2019-20, he only played 5 games because he ended up breaking his wrist. So Steph really didn't even play that year. So 2020-2021 was Steph's first year without Klay alongside him. And all the narratives going into the year was that it was going to be tough for him because he doesn't have that phenomenal shooter right next to him in Klay Thompson. Turns out Steph Curry ends up leading the league in scoring. And even this year, he's even playing at a very high level himself again as well, which, in my opinion, Steph Curry should be the front runner for MVP. I don't know how other people feel. Some people may have Kevin Durant. Some people may have Nikola Jokic. Some people may have DeMar DeRozan, John Moran, Joel Embiid. Pick your poison. Pick your poison, basically. But in my opinion, and this is not being biased whatsoever, like Steph Curry, in my opinion, is definitely the MVP this year. And it's not basically, what he's been doing on the floor, as far as being able to be that elite scorer. It's how he's been able to be effective off the ball. It's how he's been able to make others better. Like, when you think about it, like Jordan Poole is having a career year. Andrew Wiggins is having a career year. You got other guys alongside of him as well. Looney, of course, you got Draymond Green. So the Warriors, when you think about this team and the season that they're having and how deep they are, like, once Klay Thompson comes back, like, this is just going to take them to a whole nother level. Obviously, as a fan, I'm always going to pick them to win a chip this year, but I feel like once Klay comes back to 100%, they should definitely be the front runners for the championship. Maybe a tie between them and the Milwaukee Bucks, just because at the end of the day, they are the NBA championship. They are the NBA champions, so that you definitely got to put respect on their name. But at the end of the day, Klay is going to be fine. Klay is going to be fine. I don't believe he's actually rushing things. I just think that, he just wants to get back in the process or get back into the routine that he once had. But it's definitely going to take some time. It's definitely going to take a lot of time. I'm not really expecting Klay to really hit his stride possibly till March, which is really perfect, because once he hits his stride around March, and then you end up going into April with a lot of momentum, once the playoffs come around, that's going to be huge for the Golden State Warriors. Absolutely huge for the Warriors. So Klay will come back a killer, as we all know him to be, elite on both ends of the floor, and it's definitely going to take the Warriors to a whole nother level once he's able to find his stride. But all right, let me go ahead and switch gears. Let me talk about another great team, a young ascending team. Unfortunately, their win streak got snapped last night in a blowout loss, but you have to still consider them as one of the top teams in the West, regardless of what y'all say. And that is the Memphis Grizzlies, who are right now sitting at 30-15. I don't know how many of y'all actually follow me on Twitter, but if you do, follow me at NickAndreATR. But coming into this year, actually before I actually tweeted it out, I was having an argument with a friend, and we were talking about the Memphis Grizzlies and the Dallas Mavericks. As we know, the Dallas Mavericks, who have made the playoffs the last few years, have practically made noise. To a small degree, they have made noise. I know they haven't gotten out of the first round, but they've made some noise. Considering Luka Doncic was able to put on an absolute clinic last year in the first round, single-handedly almost beating Paul George and Kawhi Leonard by himself. I just think you have to give him his respects for that. You definitely have to give him his respects. So, but the thing about it is, as I'm having my argument with my friend, we're talking about the Memphis Grizzlies and the Dallas Mavericks. I tell him the Grizzlies are going to have a better team, or the Grizzlies are going to have a better record. They're going to be the better team than Dallas this year. And, we ended up going to an argument, Luka Doncic. Like, and I tell him, look, I understand Luka. I love Luka Doncic. I absolutely love Luka Doncic. But when you look at this Memphis Grizzlies team, they have a better roster than Dallas. Their team is assembled way better than Dallas. Because honestly, besides guys like Luka Doncic, Tim Hardaway Jr., Jalen Brunson, honestly, like I don't really trust anybody else. Honestly, like who else are you gonna really put your trust in? Dorian Finney-Smith, Maxi Kleber, like you know what I'm saying? Like who else? Porzingis. I mean, Porzingis is a great player. Porzingis is a good player, but I just personally don't believe he is the right fit for Dallas. That's just my opinion. I feel like he could possibly strive somewhere else, but I just do not think it's in Dallas. So would I put my trust all in on Porzingis, particularly considering how he played last year in the first round? Because like I said, Luka damn near single-handedly eliminated the Clippers, or almost eliminated the Clippers by himself. Because like you can't really say Luka really had help in that series against the Clippers. Who like his second best player was Tim Hardaway Jr. And even then, he wasn't. I mean, I'm not gonna say he was playing at an elite level. So when you look at this team, when you look at the Mavericks, it's like can you truly believe in this team? And I know they've won. I believe it's 7 of the last 8 games. So I'm definitely not taking nothing away from them. Congrats to them. But this Memphis Grizzlies team is legit. Like this team honestly reminds me of the younger Warriors team. No Ja Morant is not Steph Curry. No Dillon Brooks is not Klay Thompson. But when you look at how Golden State really came about and made noise as one of the top contenders in the West, they really established or they really assembled the team just naturally through the draft. Steph was drafted by Golden State. Klay was drafted by Golden State. Draymond drafted by Golden State. And then everybody else years later, you got guys like Jordan Poole. You got guys like Kuminga, who was drafted by Golden State now. And then of course, in free agency and in trades, you end up getting, great assets like Andrew Wiggins today, Otto Porter, and other guys. This is almost the same thing when I look at this Grizzlies team. This Grizzlies team is young, they're hungry, they want to compete. And they just had that dog in them. Like it's almost like the grit and grind from like the last decade. It kind of is, I guess maybe being in the FedEx Forum is gonna rub off on you. And it definitely has. It's almost like Ja Morant was made to be in Memphis. And that's why I honestly hope that he spends his entire career there, because as long as he continues to succeed in Memphis, they're automatically gonna give him that love no matter what. So, besides that, I believe in my opinion, Ja Morant is playing at an MVP level. Even though he did miss some games and the Grizzlies were able to keep themselves afloat during Morant's absence, that team, like this Grizzlies team is not as great as they are without Ja Morant. Ja Morant's ability to just play hard and to be able to lead this team just takes him to the next level. And then I also want to show my appreciation to other players. Like I even said it coming into this year, Jaren Jackson Jr. is going to have a really good season. And guess what? He's having a good season. Guys like Dillon Brooks, whenever he's healthy, having a great season. Honestly, Dillon Brooks may have been their best player. Dillon Brooks probably may have been their best player while Morant was absent. Many people can debate, but in my opinion, he could have. I believe that he was arguably their best player. So, like I said, Dillon Brooks, whenever he is healthy, and then his ability to play on both ends of the floor, he is definitely going to bring that. He's definitely going to bring that intensity level up a notch. And then also, honestly, like this is a guy that I believe should be in the MVP, or sorry, not MVP, Most Improved Player candidacy. Desmond Bain, who has increased his scoring from, I want to say, 7 points a game a season ago to 17 a game. Desmond Bain is a great asset for the Grizzlies. And it's crazy because I've always been high on him, but I definitely did not expect this from him coming into this year. But this is what I said. Like the Grizzlies love to compete, and they just have. And here's the thing: like when you're winning, you have the confidence. When you win, you gain more confidence, and that's what we are seeing with this Grizzlies team. And then also, I want to highlight a few other guys. Like obviously, the trade for Steven Adams was great. I felt like Steven Adams could have fit in New Orleans alongside Zion. Why? Because Zion can't really stretch the floor like that. Now you got a guy like Jared. Like now you have a guy in Jaren Jackson Jr. who can produce offensively in a multitude of ways. He doesn't have to stand under the basket. He can space the floor. He can knock down 3-point shots. He can put his head down and make plays. Jaren Jackson Jr. just brings that versatility, stretches the floor out, and it allows him to be effective. It allows Moran to be effective. It allows Dylan Brooks to be effective. It allows everyone else on the floor to be effective. So when you look at this Grizzlies team, in all of the talent that they have, they currently sit, I believe, at the 4th seed in the Western Conference. They're behind Golden State, they're behind Phoenix, and they might be 3. I can't remember, but I do know that it's either 3. It's either 3 Memphis, 4 Utah, or it's 3 Utah, 4 Memphis. I can't exactly remember off the top of my head, but they're definitely in that slot. And I didn't necessarily want to say this though, because at first I didn't believe it, but I might have to believe it considering that the Grizzlies are ranked I believe they're ranked in the top 10 in defensive rating. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like they definitely bring it defensively. And it's not like team defense or anything. Like these guys really get to it. These guys will really get to it. So with that being said, like I definitely have to make a hot take that the Grizzlies could possibly make the conference finals. And I get it, I definitely get it. Utah's still a team to be reckoned with. You can't take anything away from Utah. You can't take anything away from Phoenix, who just made the finals a season ago and who are the Western Conference champs. You can't take anything even honestly from the Lakers. I know the Lakers are struggling. I don't expect the Lakers to get anywhere, but at the end of the day, they got guys like LeBron James and Anthony Davis, so you can't take anything away from that. And we know how great King James can be in the playoffs, but the way that this Grizzlies team is going, the way that this team has been able to keep themselves afloat in the direction that they're going in, they can make some noise in the playoffs. I was honestly disappointed that they only won 1 game last year against Utah. I felt like they could have won it at least 2. But at the end of the day, things happen. So guess what they do? They learn from that series. They come into this year. They're hungry. They have a different mindset. They want to compete with everybody. And that's what we're seeing right now. So the Memphis Grizzlies are definitely one of my favorite teams to watch in the NBA so far this year. Moran is actually my second favorite player in the NBA today behind Steph Curry. This is a team that people need to really understand that they are true contenders in the West. I stand by that. Regardless of what you think, you may agree, you may disagree, but at the end of the day, the Grizzlies are definitely a team to be reckoned with. All right. Now that I'm off the Grizzlies, let's switch gears. This is going to be a short topic. I don't want to get too much into this topic, but the Bulls over the past few games, they've been obliterated. And it's honestly not their fault because at the beginning of the Brooklyn game on Wednesday, they lost Derrick Jones Jr. And then, of course, going into, or actually, no, like through the course of last night's game against Golden State, they lose Zach LaVine to a knee injury. So the Bulls have honestly gone through a lot, when it came to health and safety protocols, when it came to Obviously injuries, because I believe also Lonzo Ball is out as well with a knee injury. So the Bulls are getting hit with a lot. But the thing about it is that honestly, you honestly have to give them their flowers, just because even through all of the crazy situations that they have had, they are still the top team in the Eastern Conference. And you have to give thanks to guys like DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine, which was a duo that I'm not going to say I didn't believe it was going to work, but I definitely had my questions on whether it was going to work. I definitely had my questions about it. A lot of people said that it wasn't. I was like, you know what? Let me look into the season. Let me see how they do. From the tip of the year, I can't remember exactly who they played in their first game, but from the beginning of the year, this team or these two guys just seem to understand how to complement one another. And it's honestly something that I want from Tatum and Brown. Like this, like the connection that Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan have is something that I wish that Tatum and Brown could try to possibly create or recreate. And it's crazy though, because both of these guys, they have to have the ball in their hands to be effective. I mean, they can play off ball, but they're definitely more effective when they have the ball in their hands. DeMar DeRozan being that great mid-range scorer, just being able to create for himself. Zach LaVine, who has ascended as a scorer, which, by the way, a few years ago, I was telling people that Zach LaVine was coming. I was telling people, yo, Zach LaVine's going to be an all-star. Do y'all not see what – I mean, we get it. Chicago was trash a few years ago. I get it. But the thing about it is that, like, in 2020, I was saying, yo, Zach LaVine is coming. Zach LaVine is coming. Zach LaVine could win most improved player. Everybody's like, nah, you crazy, bro. Like, what? Like, yo, like literally, like, what are you talking about? Now look, Zach LaVine is like literally on everybody's all-star ballot to be like the starting point guard, shooting guard, wherever you want to put him. And it's crazy how that happens, though. But the Bulls are definitely on the radar to win a championship this year. But the question is, can they beat a fully healthy Brooklyn team in the playoffs that has Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, and James Harden? That is the thing, because we haven't, like, the Brooklyn Nets are a team that we still haven't really seen this team and what they can do, because obviously last year they didn't play much together. They ended up coming together in the playoffs. They ended up beating Boston in the first round, but then obviously James Harden went down in game 1 against Milwaukee. Then Kyrie went down in game 4. So Brooklyn is a team that we still don't know, or maybe some people know, you know, maybe Nets fans know, but for me, even though, you know, they are a big three, but, like, you know, we still haven't really seen, like, what they can really do. So if you're the Chicago Bulls, and, you know, you can look at that situation and be like, okay, you know, we understand they have Kevin Durant, we understand they have James Harden, we understand that they have Kyrie Irving for only the road games, which possibly might be home games as well. We can honestly make some noise against the team. We can honestly beat this team if we wanted to. The Bulls have already beaten Brooklyn before earlier this year, so they definitely have had their advantage against this team. But then also you have Milwaukee. You also have Milwaukee, who are the champs. Giannis, in my opinion, is still the head at the top of the league, just because he is the Finals MVP. You have to give him his respect. You definitely have to. So Milwaukee is another team that's had their injuries. They're still waiting for guys like Brook Lopez. Drew Holiday has been in and out of the lineup. Chris Middleton has had his share of injuries as well. And then, of course, you know, guys like Dante DiVincenzo. So Milwaukee is another team that is dangerous when fully healthy. Obviously, you know, in my opinion, down the stretch, Chris Middleton is a better go-to guy down the stretch than Giannis. That's just my opinion. Not taking anything away from Giannis, because Giannis is definitely clutch. He's definitely clutch. But in my opinion, Chris Middleton is definitely their go-to guy down the stretch, which we saw in the finals this past year against Phoenix. So now the Bulls got to go through that as well. Possibly. They possibly have to go through that. DeMar DeRozan, playoff experience. Who else on the team has playoff experience? Alex Caruso is a champion. And a few other guys as well. Nikola Vucevic, who is who has experience in the playoffs as well with both Philly and Orlando. But besides that, I don't think Zach LaVine's been to the playoffs before. I don't believe Lonzo Ball's been to the playoffs before. So even though the Bulls have a great team, like they still have a little experience. Not saying that that's going to make the big difference once the playoffs come around, but then again, it possibly could. But even though I do have Chicago like a legitimate championship contender, you still got to go through Brooklyn. You still got to go through Milwaukee. You still definitely got to go through Miami too. Once Miami is fully healthy and Bam Adebayo officially comes back, and of course Victor Oladipo and those guys. So it's not going to be a walk in the park for the Bulls. And honestly, when you look at this team, they are a team that's going to be ready for that challenge, though. Like they're a team that I have the utmost confidence for. That when the pressure comes on them, they will be able to respond. So it's a very long season. The Bulls will hopefully continue to ascend. They may hopefully, honestly, they should look to have that first seed in the West or in the East. Sorry, excuse me. They should look to continue to have the first seed in the East just because that'll be such a huge boost for them. And we'll just have to see where they go from there. Let's switch gears once again. This is my last topic of the evening. All-Star game is coming up. All-Star game is coming up. I'm sure many of y'all like me. I'm very excited. I've seen a lot of people on Twitter who have created their own little starting lineups for each conference. We're all excited, but I kind of want to go into the dunk contest this year just because I can dream every once in a while. I could definitely dream every once in a while, and I can have like who do I want to see in the dunk contest? Because I'll be honest, the past like maybe 3 or 4 years, like it's. To me, the dunk contest just hasn't really been that impressive. Last year's was just not impressive whatsoever. Actually, no, I take that back. 2020 was pretty impressive when they had Derrick Jones Jr. and a few other guys as well. I can't believe I can't believe I can never remember like who actually did the dunk contest. But that just shows how much I really care. But 2022 could be a great year because we have some high flyers who have displayed tremendous windmills, 360s, you name it. So there are a few guys that I want to list that I would love to see in the dunk contest. Let me grab my notes for 1 second. So the first one, obviously, is Ja Moran. I love Ja. I definitely love Ja. If you know me, I love Ja. Now, before the season, Ja did an interview with Taylor Rooks on Bleacher Report. And Taylor asked him if he would ever do a dunk contest. Unfortunately, he said no. I forgot the reasoning why he said no, but he definitely said no. As a fan, I was a little hurt because like these guys, they can really bring that energy and that anticipation for the dunk contest back because ever since the Aaron Gordon, Zach LaVine dunk contest, we haven't really been as excited about. Like honestly, like we're more excited for the 3-point contest than we are for the dunk contest. Like for All-Star Saturday night, the dunk contest was always something that we all anticipated. Well, at least me. I'm at least speaking from my perspective. That was something that I always got excited about. But over the past few years, I've just been like, it is what it is, I guess. So Ja Morant is one of those guys that could definitely take the trophy home. Even though he's listed at around like 6'1", 6'2", 6'3", I don't know the exact height of him, he can bounce out of the gym. We've seen him have multiple dunks. We even saw him just a week ago have this crazy block against the Lakers on Avery Bradley. A two-handed block on Avery Bradley. Got up. Absolutely got up in the air. So are y'all telling me like that's not a guy that y'all wouldn't want to see in a dunk contest? Like, come on, man. Ja is definitely one of those guys that I want to see in a dunk contest, and I honestly think that he can take the trophy home. Hell, we just saw, I believe, I think it was Anthony Simons that won last year. I believe so. Somebody has to correct me if I'm wrong, possibly, but I do believe that it was Anthony Simons that did win last year. So the point guards can take you. You know, we've obviously seen it in the past. Guys like Spud Webb, guys like Nate Robinson, and a few others as well. The point guards can definitely make some stuff happen. And the thing about it is that it doesn't even matter if the small guys have a dunk that's not that impressive. The fact that they can do it, the fact that they can bounce the way that they do, like, that's what's going to help them get the win. And for Ja to be that small, like, and I'm not saying that Ja's not creative, because Ja is definitely a creative dude. I feel like if he were to get in a dunk contest, he would definitely be a creative guy. It would definitely have some tricks up his sleeve. But whatever he could do, I feel like he's definitely going to persuade whoever is a judge and hopefully get away with a win. The next guy possibly is Anthony Edwards, Ant-Man, who just has the personality to do it. Like, I just feel like Ant is gonna like have like some of the most entertaining dunks, because he's gonna bring out so many guys. He's gonna try to dunk over 7 footers. Like, I just feel like Anthony Edwards is just gonna make it that exciting because of the personality that he has. If you watch Anthony Edwards in a post-game interview, Ant-Man is definitely one of the funniest guys. And the thing about it is that he backs up everything that he says. So you definitely have to give him props for that. Anthony Edwards backs up everything that he says. And that's why I love that dude so much. I absolutely love that dude. He brings the energy. He goes hard. He goes 100%. Can't deny that, man. So yes, that is another guy that I want to see in the dunk contest. We've seen it a few years ago at Georgia. You know, the high flying dunks. We've even seen it this year and last year with the Minnesota Timberwolves, the high flying dunks. If that dunk on the Toronto Raptors, because I know his name, but I don't want to say I don't want to pronounce it wrong, so I'm just going to say the Raptors. If that dunk on the Raptors does not tell you that Anthony Edwards should be in a dunk contest, then you're insane. You're absolutely insane. Absolutely, positively insane. So yeah, Anthony Edwards is another guy that I would love to see in a dunk contest. Could he win one? Of course he could. He could definitely win a dunk contest, just because, like, the thing about Ant-Man is that Ant-Man is going to he's already going to entertain the crowd even before he attempts a dunk. Even before he attempts a dunk, like he's going to somehow have the crowd ready, have the crowd anticipating what he's going to do next. So that's one of the things, or part of the reason why I want Anthony Edwards to be a part of a dunk contest. Not only because, you know, he's a super fly, active guy, but his personality and his ability to, you know, put on a show is definitely something that the dunk contest needs. Third man, Trez. My third guy is none other than rookie Jalen Green. If you watched him last year playing for the G League Ignite, you know that this guy has crazy bounce. Honestly, I feel like this year he's gotten up even higher. Like, I've watched some of the fast break dunks that he's had that he's put on for the Rockets, and like, it is just insane. And then his long wingspan, like when he goes up for a windmill, like, you're like, yeeks, dog. Like, what are we seeing here, bro? Like, this is just absolutely insane. Jalen Green is a guy that I want to see. I want to see him get up. I absolutely want to see him get up. I feel like he will put up a tremendous show if he ended up going there. Because, I mean, he's got young legs, and he can bounce out of the gym, just like I said about John Moran and Anthony Edwards. Come on, we definitely need Jalen Green. We definitely need Jalen Green. And then my fourth guy, I know he ended up going before, but I want to see him again, Obi Toppin. Obi, honestly, maybe it was just me, but I didn't see a lot of this athleticism in college. I mean, I knew that he could dunk. I knew that he was a high active player during his time at Dayton, but a lot of these dunks that he has put on this year, you're like, oh my god! Like, and even last year, like when he was in the dunk contest, like I just didn't see it at first, but then once he actually got in it, I was like, oh my god! So Obi Toppin, I definitely want to see you in a dunk contest again. For a big, he has tremendous bounce, he has tremendous mobility, and then of course, he has great body control as well. Get somebody please persuade Obi Toppin to do a dunk contest once again. Will he win? I'm not sure. I'm not gonna say that he might win, he might not win, but I would still love for him to be a part of that if he could be. So yeah, those are my 4 guys that I definitely want to see in a dunk contest. How do you guys feel about it? Let me know. And also, like, if there's any guys that I may have missed out that you believe could be in a dunk contest, definitely let me know. I'm definitely, interested to see some names that could end up making that list. But we are going to wrap up the show here. I appreciate you guys for tuning in with me, for sticking in with me. Obviously, nobody really interacted or left any comments, but who cares? I definitely appreciate you guys listening. Appreciate you guys being able to tune in. Shout out to Unwrapped Sports. Shout out to Unwrapped. Follow us on Twitter at CountTheBucketUS or CountBucketUSN. I apologize. Follow Unwrapped Sports at Unwrapped. Shout out to those on Colorcast who was listening the entire episode. I definitely appreciate you guys. And also follow me on Twitter at NickAndreATR. I got a lot of stuff coming. Subscribe to my Patreon. I have a lot of things coming there. I got a new piece dropping possibly Monday if I can get everything edited and scheduled on time. That's a possible maybe. So don't get your hype or don't get your hopes up for that. But besides that, this is Nick Andre. I'm signing off. Everybody have a good night.